We back. We are back.
Hey y'all.
Yo.
Did you miss us?
Hello.
Welcome to Big Little Things podcast. I'm Tiara and this is my husband Kasim, and together we are the Collins. So, how are you?
Good. Mate. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm a little sore from the gym, I'm not going to lie. It's like once your muscles start to relax, you really feel what you did earlier.
No, man.
We haven't worked out, guys, in what, like 2 weeks. Planet Fitness app does not lie. Okay, it tracks every single time that you clock in or not clock in. What? This is not a job. Every time you check in, every time you it feels like a job. Every time you check in, there's a log. So today we just kind of did some machines. I'm getting into the free weights because I'm trying to grow my glutes. So we're going to feel it tomorrow, but we're going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything going to be all right. Everything going to be all right. Did you hear me? Do you feel me? We going to be all right. So today we are going to be talking about corporal punishment. We are going to be outlining how we feel about corporal punishment, what we went through in our youth in regards to corporal punishment, and share some stories with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna tell us. Everybody has their different views about corporal punishment, and I know this might hit a nerve for some people, but it is what it is. You'll get over it. But that's what it is. Corporal punishment. Everybody has different views, different outlooks, and different opinions. It's a very big topic. Mm-hmm. So, again, this is just our view, how we feel about corporal punishment, and our take on the situations and how we feel. What is considered being abused or overly abused, or certain things, certain factors, certain ages with kids. Everybody has an answer. We are not social workers. We are not, parent psychologists. Okay, we just normal people with an opinion. So do remember that when we talk about our topics.
If you haven't tuned into the last episode, listen to that because we did discuss that his daughter just turned 21 and we are choosing not to have any children. So I have done a lot of babysitting. I've watched families, kids like my nieces, my nephews. When I lived in Nevada, I used to babysit out there. And honestly, I actually never had to put my hands on anyone. But there is situations I feel like where a child does need a little bit more than talking to them. Timeout doesn't work for every kid.
Yeah, and I've raised 3 kids, and every last one of them is grown. So, it's one of them type situations. I do believe timeout is a tool that's used for certain situations, and I do believe that, when it comes to certain things, sometimes, talking to the kid, getting an understanding of what's going on, before you just jump to any type of physical, interaction with the child. There's other ways to go about, punishing or getting your point across to your kids. I don't agree with yelling at your kids. That's just me. I don't. Yelling doesn't get anything. You yell at your kids, you're not gonna get any results out of that. That's just my take on it. I feel like that you just need to spend more, spend more time with your kids. And again, let's just be honest. You ain't your kid's friend, man.
Once they hit 18, then I feel like you can start having that relationship where you can talk about a little bit more, be more open with them, share your own experiences and things like that. But again, there comes a time and a place where maybe you're going to give them a verbal warning. And then after that verbal warning, what is next?
I mean, it depends on, like I said, it depends on the situation. It depends on the kid. I mean, each situation is responded to in different ways. I mean, just as simple as if you tell a kid that's hot, they not understanding what hot is until they turn around and experience the heat of whatever they're touching.
The kid has to learn and they have to fall on their ass. I have gotten so many cuts, scrapes, bruises just from being outside on my bike, on my scooter. And my mom would be like, you need to stop doing that. You need to stop doing that. Did I listen? Mm-mm. And you guys know, if you are around my age, I'm 31, born in 94. The scooters that we had back in the day, I didn't have the electric scooter. So if you twisted that the wrong way, you damn near breaking your ankle. And I would just do it like it was nothing until one day I hit my ankle so bad and my mom said, I told you so. She was like, the next time you do that, I'm going to pull out the belt, because we are not about to be in the emergency room because of a scooter.
See, I was brought up in a little different. I'm 40, turning 43. So for all you 80s babies, I'm quite sure y'all do know and understand that we were outside kids. When we went out, we were outside. That's just what it was. You want to don't be running in and out the door. Your mom used to tell you don't be running up my air conditioner bill. You either in or out. So we are outside kids, and that's what we did. We scraped our knees. When I was a country boy, so we was out doing all kinds of stuff outside, basketball, football, playing in the woods, doing all kinds of things. So it's just different, you know, from what it is now to what it was then.
I think a lot of these kids nowadays, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, are dumb as a bag of bricks. There is no common sense because, like the saying says, common sense is not so common. These kids will see you driving down the road, see you, right? You see them. I'm not going to hit a child. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to, I'm not going to hit you. But you should have enough sense, and your parents should be teaching you, when you see cars, you need to move out of the way. If you're playing with your football and your basketball, that's not the problem. But if you see that people are trying to make it through the road, get the hell out of the way. Those are things that, if my mom was told that I was out in the street not moving, there would be a belt waiting for me when I get home.
I mean, see, you got to think. It's like I said, two different generations. See, we as kids, we knew we didn't have watches and phones. You know what our time clock was? The street light. You
Yeah.
look up and be like, oh, you better, what's that old saying? You better be home for street light come on. If
Well,
you miss that street light and that street light home, by the time you get home, you already know it's on.
and see, I had to have a phone at 11 because my mom and my stepdad were not home when I got home from school, and I would usually do my homework and I would be out of there. So, and I had to get on the school bus. I had to get on the school bus after and get on there by myself at 11, which is crazy because there's a lot of parents that are walking their kids to the bus stop at 11. I'm like, at 11? What? My mom was going out of town. I was sitting here making a meal, making breakfast. These kids can't even do the bare minimum. Like,
it's just different.
put toast in the toaster. You can't read instructions to put a TV dinner in the microwave.
It's just different areas. Like we were latchkey kids. Our moms were at work when we came home. Our moms and dads were at work, and we would unlock the door and we would be at home by ourselves. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a little different. I mean, it's differentable times. Again, as they say, for some of y'all believe, in the Bible, this kind of situation that does state that for each generation, will get more smarter but also more weaker as time goes on. And that's just what it is. In this day and time, these kids are technology savvy. They are very smart in certain ways. They can cut on cameras and make, hundreds of thousands of dollars just by getting up there doing whatever, dancing, doing makeup, going outside, just filming, talking, podcasts, like, anything, those kind of situations. We didn't have those kind of outlets and those kind of things when we were growing up. So we had to make our own. We had to make our own fun. We used our imagination a lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot of things that these kids are not. You know, they don't have that the imagination that we used to have when we were kids and could go out there and play all day versus what they have now. It's
I
different.
come from the time where you could not be on that phone until after 9 p.m. But again, I think if the circumstances were I had to be at home after school and get on the bus and all of this, my mom probably wouldn't have got me a phone until I was like 17. I probably would have been damn near out of high school.
You know,
because she didn't have a phone. She showed me her first phone, and I was like, God, that phone was as big as my forearm. It was this big. I said, dang, she had to pull the antenna out. I was like, holy moly. And she was grown when she got her first phone.
well, again, so was I. I was growing. I got my first phone. I mean, back in the day, I was growing up. If we the internet had just came out, so if you were on the internet, guess what happened to the phone line?
Dial up.
Oh, you that you already
And then
know.
don't be trying to get on the internet and your mom need to be on the phone. She about to cuss you out.
So
You gotta pick a choice.
it's one of them type things. Like it's just different areas for different kids. But as when it comes to going through punishing your kids, it's in this
Mm.
day and time is just different. Parenting versus what it was,
I think you
years
have
ago.
there's a couple different types of people. You have the people who should have just never been parents and are just very, very, very abusive. And then you have ones that they want to be their friends, so they're scared to discipline. What exactly does it mean to you for corporal punishment? And how are you disciplining your children? Because, like stated in the beginning, when I did babysitting, which I want to get back into it, I didn't have to put my hands on anybody's kids for them to understand that I was serious. And a lot of the kids felt more comfortable with me than their parents because I did spend more time in getting to know them more intimately. Like, what are their likes? What are their dislikes? What happens when they do this? What happens when they do that? I was there for those things, and not to call them bad parents because you have to work. You have to go and provide a living for yourself and your children. That's just a given. And with how we grew up, I would say we could literally agree. Your parents were not home, they were working. My parents were not home, they were working. And again, once I hit I think maybe like middle school, that's when I had to start checking in via phone. I had to start when I got home, I had to text my mom or call her. And when I was maybe 12, 13, at first it was every hour. To me, I thought it was excessive. I'm like, every hour, girl, what? I'm literally right down the street. Then as I started getting older and started getting sneakier, I don't know why she gave me these windows, but she's like, okay, you need to check in every 3 to 4 hours. If you're going to be out past 11, you need to let me know where you are. Shoot, my phone would be dead. I'd probably pushed it all the way down to the bottom of my purse. But you know what? I guess what I have to say, my mom would always threaten that she was going to do something to me. I think in my whole life, she became really soft when she had me. She was 28. I think I had the belt maybe a few times. I got a little hit on the hand a couple times. I think she grabbed the fat. When your mom has those acrylic nails and she grabbed that fat between them fingernails, shit hurts. And I would learn my lesson real quick because I don't want to be getting grabbed by the acrylics. And then they would be all the way out to here, just grabbing the pinch and twist, hitting the hand, belts.
See,
My sisters are the ones, and my brother are the ones who got it for real. My siblings got it for real.
it's different. I wasn't raised in that kind of way. My mom believed in corporal punishment, so there was no um, hitting on the hand. You got your tail whooped. My mom believed that she used to carry a paddle on the person. It used to say engraved on it said attitude adjuster. Engraved on it. And then she did things to
Wow.
literally she drilled holes in the paddle. So I don't know. A lot of you guys probably, unless you're in your 40s, you probably never had seen a paddle in your life. The paddles be thick. It'd be a whole big wooden paddle, and you drill holes in it. So when you go to swing that paddle with it catching the wind, it hits you, and you talking about a pain you probably ain't felt before in your life. It's just a little different. My mom was a country woman, so we were raised different. This is the kind of situations like whatever she had in her hand that you out there cutting up, that's what you got hit with. So that is just a little bit different. We respected our elders in ways that a lot of generations don't respect their elders.
Mm.
Kids are supposed to be seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now, do I believe in everything that how the older generation is about? No, I don't. But I do believe kids are supposed to be seen, with adults, and when adults are talking.
To be quite honest, certain situations, kids don't need to be there. We got married a year ago and we decided that we got engaged and then we eloped a few months later. We don't have, I mean, I have a big family on my mom's side and you don't have such a big family, but we decided that we wanted to elope.
It's just one of those type situations. Like I said again, everybody is raised in different era, in different times, and the teachings are different. And as time goes on, things are different. Do I believe that things are back in those days? Yes, it kept you grounded. Yes, they gave you an awareness. It made you be more aware of your surroundings. It made you be
Mm-hmm.
more independent. It made you to grow up in certain aspects a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
Than where these kids are now today. Now,
We wouldn't have had a big wedding. And even if we had, to be honest, I'm going to be quite honest. A lot of people are going to be very triggered and mad, and I really don't care. No kids. No kids. I wouldn't have wanted any kids at the wedding because if there's going to be people drinking, no, I think that's just not the place for children to be. Again, like my husband was saying, kids are supposed to be seen and not heard. And that's how my mom was. If I dare come in to get a sip of water, my mom's looking at me like, can you take that in the other room? She'd just be looking at me like, you see, I got my friends over. Go somewhere else.
it's just one of those type situations. I mean, when punishing a kid, there's certain things that we as parents need to realize that certain punishments are just this just shouldn't be. Yelling at your kid to try to get your point across is not the way. Do I believe there's ages that you need to go through? Do I believe popping a little leg, top their little leg or their little hand, what I'm saying, when they're in the little smaller ages, to let them know, no, don't do that, especially something dangerous. As them kids are kids, they're just kids and they're just gonna do, exploring the world and exploring what's going
For instance, when I would watch my niece, she had a phase where she was like hitting people, and she hit me one time and I said, ow, that hurts. Don't do that again. And she had a era where she was throwing the temper tantrums. I did not give it attention. I did not give it attention because honestly, they will stop eventually if you walk away. I walked away for 2 minutes to gather myself because I actually felt on sensory overload. I walked away for 2 to 3 minutes to gather myself so that I could properly discipline her. I didn't put my hands on her, but I told her, I said, hey, it's time to stop. You're a big girl. We're not going to act like that to get what we want. You have to communicate to me what you want, and I can do that. But if you're kicking and screaming and throwing yourself on the floor, I'm not going to be able to help you. So that was a scenario where I didn't have to put my hands on her. And there's, of course, several others. I don't think that's always needed, but I think it really depends on the kid and it does depend on their age. So,
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the kid. I mean, again, my daughter and those, kind of situations, she had her little temper tantrum. See, there's a difference. I demand respect and structure. So I believe kids should definitely be respectful of their parents, and there should be some structure laid out. So, I
mm,
was the person who pretty much was that dealt out, I was judge, jury, and executioner. So that's just pretty much how that went, So of course, the structure was demanded and the respect was demanded there. So anytime there was temper tantrums thrown, because I've already dealt with those kind of things, so yeah, I get right to their level. Where you meet them right to eye to eye. I
yeah,
talk real softly. If you don't cut this crap out, there's going to be a problem.
yeah,
And that's just what it is. And 90% of the time, it never had to lead to me, going off or yes. But there has been times where the kids are feeling themselves, and they dance, and
Getting slick at the mouth.
you gotta pull out that attitude adjuster, like I just said, and mine was the belt. Yes, I do believe that in certain cases, in certain instances, should the belt be used? Yes, and I know that might aggravate some of
Was it
y'all.
spare the rod, spoil the child?
Yes, that may aggravate some of y'all. Y'all may feel some kind of way, this and the third, but that's fine. You raise your kids how you want to raise your kids. But let me tell you one thing that, yes, it is spare the rod, spoil the child. I do believe in that saying, and I'm surely not going to spare the rod on no disrespectful kids.
So let's say you have kids, your kids are older, you want to have kids, whatever, you're around kids, whatever the case may be, you have to realize that they are people too, but there is a way that you are supposed to go about things. You don't always have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be cursing them out, yelling at them. I even knew kids when I was younger where if their room wasn't a certain way, their parents would like throw shit away. To me, that's wrong. I feel like as long as it's not the main parts of the house, you want to go in your room and you want to tear it up. Okay, let's say, depending on their age, if they're 5 years old, at the end of the day, hey, it's time to put your toys back in your toy box. Things that I would do when I babysat. Their toys would be everywhere. I'm like, okay. And if there was pushback, okay, you just asked me for a snack. And you can have a snack, but first, I need you to put the toys in the toy box, and then you can sit down at the table and have your snack.
You know what's the beautiful thing about this day when it comes to, any type of punishing your kids? You know, it's so many ways. It's so many ways. All you gotta do in this day and time, let me be honest with you, these kids are too hooked into everything. Just go and plug their PlayStation or their Xbox.
My mom took the door off the hinges and painted my sister's rooms white. That is crazy. Well, they got grounded for like 6 months for stealing candy. I said, some candy? I know you lying. Well, I mean, some candy. I think, I wish I could call her right now. She made them give all that candy that they stole back to the store. That has to be embarrassing. And then they're doing the walk of shame out of the store after their mom just busted them up.
I mean, we were all done stuff when we were kids. I know I was grounded for a whole summer. I'll never forget it. It was a video game that came out, and I wanted this video game. My mom would not buy this game. She would not buy it. Okay, this is back in the day when Nintendo, the original Nintendo, was out. Okay, I wanted this game. I think it was like Ninja Turtles. I wanted it so bad.
Ninja Turtles.
She would not buy it. So one of the kids had it at school. He said he had the game, and I was like, "Hey, look, I'll trade you for one of my games for one of your games." Well, when I got the game, we went to go trade. He brought the game to school. I took the game home, and I was playing the game. Okay, but I never brought him the game that he wanted to read the trade. So my mom found out, hey, where did you get this game from? She not only did she make me turn around and give back the game that I said I was gonna trade with the little boy because I never traded my game, but I took his. She made me give my game to the little boy, and I was grounded the whole entire summer.
Wow.
So it's one of them type situations.
I've been with people who have shoplifted, and I had to get out of there because I'm like, nah, I can't. After that one time where I did something stupid, like they took me into the holding room and everything and called my mom. My mom was just shopping around the store. My mom's like, why the fuck would you do that? You could have just asked for the $5 lip gloss. And I was grounded. I can't remember exactly like what happened, but I definitely lost everything because at this point I'm like 12, 13, TV privileges. I couldn't go outside. She was like, you want to do something? You can read a book. I didn't have any of my game systems at the time, nothing. No phone, no nothing. Which was fine because I was outside all the time anyway. I think that was more of a shock to me. Like, what? You're taking away my devices. I don't use them like that unless it's like the night. Like I'm eating dinner, take my shower, I'll lay down, watch a little bit of something on my phone, whatever. But a lot of the times, 99.9% of the time, once I got out of school, my mom had a rule, as long as your homework is done, I don't care. And then you can go outside. So once I did that homework, or if I didn't have any, I was gone. And I was gone all day.
It's just different. I mean, like I said, it's one of them things like it's one of them things like where I can recall a time where we was riding bikes down the hill because the house we had a big old hill and it went around the corner and it was a huge slope down. So we were going down the hill or riding down our bikes, holding around the corner. I remember my little friend, I think his name was Jeremy. He was in front of me.
Not Jeremy.
He was in front of me. So
Jeremy sound like a
they
badass kid, y'all.
no, he actually was a little skinny white kid.
Oh, okay.
So he
My
was riding
apologies.
down. He was riding down the side, and then I was following right behind him. Well, Jeremy had this idea that he's in my minds were on the slope in the middle of the hill. He had this idea that he wanted to stop in the middle of the hill and set down his bike like I'm not behind him. Like again, no clue. I don't know what happened. Maybe something was going on with his bike or whatever. But I tried to hit brakes, and I couldn't hit the brakes. And I turned around, and I hit his bike, and I flew off the bike. I went one way, the bike went the other way, and I skid all the way down the side, all the way down the gravel. And I went to sit up, and the bike literally, it looked like a cartoon situation. The bike literally flipped up, and by the time it landed, when I went to sit up, the seat landed on top of my head so hard that it busted a hole in the top of my head and knocked me out. I was just out. So my mom come running
Out.
screaming, oh, it's in the third. And I look up, I'm, just gaining some type of consciousness back, and I'm not even realizing I got a hold of my head. At this point, I'm just really coming to, and I see blood, and my mom's, have blood on her, and I'm thinking it's her. So I start screaming, thinking like she was hurt, but it's me. I'm the one that's, sitting there bleeding.
The adrenaline.
So
you didn't feel it, huh?
No, I didn't feel it. I felt it. I didn't get. I got in the house. Now again, let's say this is older times. So mom get me in the house, patch me up, hey, look, you can't go nowhere. Mind you, she back in them times, was modern, this ain't modern medicine where you got all these go out here, they go to rush you to the hospital if you scrape me. Back in them times, they turn around, they stitch you up right at home.
A huge gash, probably the size of a $50. That thing was huge, down like in this area between my mouth and my chin. And I think I had like fallen off of my bike. So where I grew up, there was this street that was, the sidewalk was very uneven and you had to be careful. And I used to always ride my bike and my scooter. And I'm fast going. I can't remember if I was on my bike or my scooter, but I'm going fast and I hit the bump. Next thing I know, like you just said, I'm flying. The scooter or bike, whatever I was on at the time, flies the other way, and I like hit my face on the pavement. Mind you, these kids nowadays would have been crying, fussing. I think I was more annoyed that I messed up, like my clothes and my shoes were all scuffed up. So I was like, let me go home because my mom, I was like, it's probably bad. I saw like blood like gushing everywhere. It's all over my clothes. I was like, oh my God, let me go home. So I go home and my mom's like, oh my gosh, what the fuck were you doing? And I was like, I fell. And this is how moms were back in the day. Are you okay? No, my mom wasn't doing none of that. Okay. She was, oh, are you okay? She wasn't babying me. She was like, what were you doing to have done this? I said, well, the sidewalk was uneven and I didn't know. And I was just riding, and I literally flew over it. And so she cleaned me up. I think she put like some Neosporin or whatever. And I had picture day that week, y'all. I had picture day like the next day or sometime within that week, like a day or two later, maybe. And that picture is literally, it's like all red and busted. I'm like, oh Lord. It was bad. It was, and I still wanted to go outside. My mom said, no, ma'am, you're in the house for the rest of the day. I was like, it's literally just a scratch. She held that mirror up to my face. She was like, Tiara, you are not going outside. I was like, just put a Band-Aid on it.
It's just different, like it's the same way when we was in school. When I was in middle school all the way up to high school, we had corporal punishment in schools.
Yeah.
So, it's just different, like they sent home a whole note and your mom or your parent had to sign it, based, they would approve that they could use corporal punishment, in school, or use corporal punishment on your child upon it.
I don't
Now,
think
if
they
it,
should be able to.
now I don't think they should either. Grandmother, whoever you trust from your family,
Mm-hmm.
should be disciplined in your kid. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same way. It's like, do I see kids all the time, running up and down while I'm at work in the store and doing all kinds of crazy stuff? They should be disciplined. And, they should be, and the parents just standing right there just looking at them like it
Yeah.
ain't nothing, or just leave them to run the store while they go off somewhere else on another side of the store. That's crazy. My thing is, you have these kids and you letting them run buck wild, and not teaching them respect and teaching them how to act like a human being. You're not giving them
Mm-hmm.
no structure. That's how you know they have no structure, because you beat them all the time when you're in the store. I know y'all been in stores, you in line, and it's a kid going off screaming, acting a fool. I tell you right now, my child, they never did that in line.
And my mom used to always tell me, don't look at nothing, don't touch nothing, don't get into no trouble because I will embarrass you in front of the people.
Y'all know the speech where you go in the store? Yeah, she just said, "Don't look at nothing, don't touch nothing, and
You not getting nothing.
don't ask for nothing."
No, you're getting nothing. But
Yeah,
my mom tried to play that, but my mom was kind of soft in regards to getting me stuff. Like I would like sneak stuff in the basket, and she would look at me like side eyeing. Are you gonna get that? You getting that? When did that appear in the basket, Tiara? Um, put it up on the conveyor belt and don't ask for shit else. But you just gave me the speech.
I mean, my mom would get me, things that I wanted. She would give me money, and I would go get the things I wanted. Man, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The truth is just like this: if you can't afford them, or you don't have the time for them, don't have them.
Really give it some thought because it's not a small thing. It is a very big responsibility. And it takes a bigger person and a wise person to be like, hey, I just don't want them. I'm not going to have them. Cool, great. They're not for everybody. You don't, the stigma on women have to have kids by a certain age or you have to have children. It's just so old and played out at this point. And people have even asked me, like, stay out of my body. What if I'm infertile? Like, you don't even know that. It's just very insensitive. Stop asking people when they're going to have kids, or people are newlyweds. They've been married for 6 months. So when's the kid coming? What if they don't even want them? What if she's infertile? What if they're going through adoption? You don't know. Stop asking. If this is not something that they openly talk about, stop asking. It does not matter.
My take on the situation is, at the end of the day, if you can't afford your kids, don't have them. The problem is what we have here in this state, in this country, is that we have a whole bunch of people that want to have these kids and have all these good intentions, and you have to live off certain assistance to turn around to afford your kids. It is something to help you, not something that you stay on.
But I think that
So
should be a short term thing, right?
it should be a short term thing.
Yeah.
It should be something that is very short term. Be smart and don't have kids. It's as simple as that. If you can't, again, I hate that the fact that everybody has this thought process that they have to bring in a child into this world and raising this and the third. Da, 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 da. Okay, that is wonderful and great if you can get out here and do what you need to do to raise the kid, or you have the foundation to do what you need to do to raise a kid, whether that's family, whatever, or that's maybe something that you want to do, and you worked hard to build a stable life for yourself so your kid can have everything that you didn't have. Do what you have to do. But if you're going to sit here and have kids and want someone else to turn around and their dollars to take care of the kids, and then you don't have, or you have kids and you don't have time for the kids, and you really don't want kids, but your partner wants kids, and you're just having kids with your partner, whoever they are, male or female, because, or woman or man, or man or woman or woman, because they want kids, and you decide to be like, hey, that's not, I don't see myself having kids. I really don't want that responsibility. Stick with your gun.
I think just really think about it. Honestly, I think at one point, I think I've always been very wishy washy. I'm going to just kind of sum this up in about 1 minute. I was always wishy washy about if I wanted kids. I've always been really good with kids. Kids love me. I'm really great with kids. I would love to do more with the youth, like just maybe going to the YMCA, just getting myself out there to volunteer with kids, because it would be cool, not necessarily to be a mentor, but I don't know, just to get out into my community and help out in any way that I can, even with like elderly. But um again, yeah, we decided that it's just not going to happen. Honestly, I don't want to dedicate my time, and it's a lot of money. And I'm not trying to be paying somebody $2,000 for my kid to barely eat. Like, that's strapping kids in and out. I've watched a lot of kids. It's annoying. I don't want to be taking a kid in and out of the vehicle. It's a lot. I see, like, as I get older, I'm starting to see that honestly, I love my freedom. I love being able to get up and go. If I have things to do, I don't have to be like, oh, wait, let me drop them off at daycare. Oh, is this person available? And then you have to deal with people um, not being reliable, canceling at the last minute. And it's expensive. Again, expensive, expensive. If you do not have the stability to have kids, please stop. This world is already overly populated. And you keep bringing these kids into the world knowing damn well you can't take care of them. It's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to your children as they get older. They should not be growing up in poverty. They should not be growing up with parents or single parent or whatever who cannot even take care of themselves. That's just not fair to do to a child. Just really think about it. Think about how you treat your kids. Think about how you treat other people's kids. Just think about that. Because honestly, it could go a long way. And with that, I don't think I really have much more to contribute to this.
Nope.
Pretty straightforward podcast. I hope you guys are following. If you're not, give this a like if you like it. Comment down below some of your experiences. Do you have kids? Do you not have kids? Are you waiting a little bit later in life? What are you doing? Give us some experiences. Where did you grow up? Did your parents do corporal punishment? Like, how did they discipline? I'm curious to know. Did you have strict parents? Were they cool? Were they calm? Were they collective? How were they? I would just like to know. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I hope you guys tune in for the next episode. Give us some ideas. Leave us some feedback.
Alrighty. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.